The world, as you know, is on fire. We all know these terrible images we saw. Hold on. Mankind is on fire, and I would like us to reflect a little bit on this slide. Everybody has this feeling with the number of messages, the number of WhatsApps, the number of texts we receive every day. We have this feeling of acceleration of time. But let us spend a little bit of time understanding what's going on. This chart is basically the amount of data that has been created since mankind exists. So up to 2012, since 10,000 years, we have accumulated 2 exabytes. That's 2 factor 21, a number too big for all of us to understand. Since 6 years, this number has been increased tenfold, and we expect it to double again in the next 18 months. What it says is that actually technology, information, speed of the world is actually going beyond our individual cognitive capabilities. We have this feeling, more or less in the population, that we don't understand the world anymore. And probably part of the problem is that when we want to understand what's also going on in the general public, that has this feeling of helplessness, that they don't have any more grip on their future, I think this is part of the explanation, and we should keep it in mind. And when you think about why everybody is getting excited about AI, it's not about the great technology it is. It's because AI, if we use it well, may be a way to distinguish between the important and non-important information, to try to understand the future and try to also have an impact on the future. The third thing which is on fire, you probably all know this gentleman, Steve Bannon. I don't want to give him publicity, but he is really the one who also, with Donald Trump, helped a lot of populist movement completely hack the democratic systems. And I think we should be very, very careful about what's going on. I mean, we are unfortunately marking today the first day of Brexit. This is a direct consequence of how populists have been able to hack what is dear to us, which is democracy. So I think democracy on fire too. And last but not least, I think Europe is on fire. I mean, we are all in this positive mood. We want to change. We're here. We don't want to be negative. But let's be also a bit realistic in Europe. We have lost so far entirely, and I say that under the control of Kat, because I know she might not be completely happy with what I said. For the moment, the picture is glimpse. We are, on the right side, you see the top 10 companies in the world. None of them is European. And on the left side, you see the video, basically what we are putting on one specific area, which is AI, as far as investment is concerned. And the 15% is not France, it's not Europe. It's Europe, plus Japan, plus Korea, plus Israel, etc., plus Russia, etc. So not small countries in this field. So it does not look good. And where do we stand, literally? And I try to have this image of somebody who is, Europe is not in a great position. Think about AI. You saw that. Quantum, there was a great plan proposed by the French government a couple of weeks ago, the battle we cannot miss. But for the moment, most of the breakthroughs that are achieved so far in quantum are located in Zurich, are located in China for quantum communication, are also a lot in the Silicon Valley. Semiconductors, we have no more factory in Europe building semiconductors under 10 nanometers. In the sector of space, we have great scientists here, but you all know that the number of launches of SpaceX has been incredibly important compared to what the Europeans have been able to launch. I could add and add and add. We co-invented CRISPR, you know, this genetic scissors. 99% of the startups in this sector are in Boston or Shenzhen. Our vision is very simple, is that there is no more technological leadership, and why is that important? Is that technology is not anymore just something which is floating around. It is linked with our values. You saw my point about cybersecurity and elections, how cybersecurity is disrupting elections. You know how social media have been completely changing the way the consensus, the democratic process are being done. Deep fakes, some of you know that, these are the fake videos generated by AI, is going to change completely the perception of truth. And when tomorrow the head of a large bank, of a big luxury brand, or a political leader will be faked in a video, it will be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to contradict that. So it might have very, very serious consequences. And the second thing we are convinced is that we are increasingly in this winner-takes-all world. And this is network effect, it's globalization, it's the fact that software is eating up the world, and today there is a premium, a massive premium to those who are inventing first and launching it first on the global market. So we think in Europe it's all about inventing the next big thing. And we actually think it's a very positive message. I mean, we can go from one conference to the other conference saying how China and the US are racing ahead. You probably have gone to many of these. Or we can say this acceleration is an incredible opportunity to reshuffle the cards. And this is what we want to do. And it's not just a question of money. I have great hopes in the new European Commission because it's an opportunity to put things straight. But I hear again the old political mantra, which is, let's put billions. It's not just about billions. And this is something which does not make us very popular in Brussels, but I think as citizen, engaged citizen, we need to consider this. Of course, more money is always better than less money. But it's all a question of methodology. It's about boldness, it's about being fast, it's about privileging excellence only, it's about stopping when it does not work. All these things are not necessarily things for which Europe, which is known for a lot of great things, is known for. And this is what we want to change. The second thing, the first thing that we see a European way is, number one, we see increasingly authoritarian states using technology for political purposes. And I know it's a very sensitive topic, especially now, but I'm sure that with this dramatic outbreak of the coronavirus, you will have a lot of people saying, we don't like the Chinese system, but these people get things done. Where else in the world can you quarantine 50 million people? So I think it's a big danger for our democracies if we don't have this capacity also to be at the forefront. On the other side, we see increasingly these technology giants that, despite all their ethical committees, don't necessarily have an ethical endgame. So we think, together with many, many people at J.E.D.I, that Europe has an incredible opportunity to say, okay, what are the big societal challenges? The four we listed here are very obvious. They're very linked to the SDGs of the United Nations. And where are the technological bottlenecks? Where are the frontiers which would help us have massive impact? And this is what we have tried to do. The second thing is we think we need to rethink the way we do politics. It's bold, but if democracies don't get the speed, if democracy don't get the boldness, if they are not able to have efficiency as the authoritarian systems, you will have on one side the CEOs of all the big companies. They don't say it very loudly, but I hear a lot of them saying, actually, a strong man is what we need. And I think it's a big danger for all of us. But you see also an incredible number of people in the general public who say, my politicians don't make a difference for my life. We saw that with the Gilets jaunes topic very, very clearly. So here we are not here to criticize the way we're doing things. We think it's important for all of us to rethink the way the civil society engage. And the way we have built this initiative for disruptive innovation is to say, there are a lot of people with a lot of goodwill in the bureaucracies, but they are just not able to move these bureaucracies as fast, as bold as we need. So we need to create something outside and then to reintegrate once it has proven some results. Let me show you some of the grand challenges that we're going to launch, because J.E.D.I is all about that. It's about saying, it's not a fatalité, as the French would say. We are not doomed to be behind in this technological race. We are not doomed to use Chinese facial recognition in our cities. We can invent our own technologies that include the values that are dear to us. So let me show you an example on this deepfake challenge that we're about to launch.
Today, we eradicated AIDS.
President Trump is a total and complete dipshit.
Yeah, I was just really surprised.
The more you express yourself, the more we own you.
Après les fake news, voici le deepfake ou l'art ultime de la désinformation.
Let me show you another example, because technology is not just about digital. We're also going to launch in the coming weeks an Ocean Grand Challenge. My colleague Marina will be presenting that on a panel tomorrow at Change Now. So thank you, Change Now, for allowing J.E.D.I to hack your conference.
Je sais pas, j'ai pas le temps, c'est ça que je disais. Ouais, le temps disparaît. Je pense qu'on va dire qu'il est arrivé.
All right, let me give you a few other examples to excite you about what we should do. Glyphosate, in many European countries, a very divisive topic. You have les bobos des villes, so those people living in the cities who say we need to ban that entirely, and a lot of people living in the countryside who actually have no replacement for glyphosate because you don't have an herbicide with that efficiency, quote unquote, on large cultures. How do we use innovation to go outside of this topic through innovation and not just by putting one side of the population against the other? Another topic, you probably you put the next one?
I think you've been cut.
Okay, the presentation has just been cut. Okay, anyway, so you don't have anything left on the presentation? Well, I think the Chinese just hacked my presentation.
But
anyway, I think you got the topic. We have another one that we're launching on, for example, jet fuel. You probably all heard about this campaign about shame to take a plane. We are launching a challenge about can we increase energy density of the current kerosene by a factor of 2 or 3. We all know the correlation right now that there is between digital and energy consumption. Just to give you an idea, Google will install its next data center in Luxembourg. It will take up 12% of the energy of Luxembourg for one data center. If we are not able to cut this correlation between digital consumption and energy, obviously we have a massive, massive, massive problem in our world. And here again, the way we put it is to say, we think in Europe it makes no sense to compete head-to-head with the current cloud providers. This battle is lost. But if you come up with cloud and data centers that have a massively lower energy consumption, then we think we can be back in the race. So this is the whole topic of J.E.D.I. I had also a nice little movie to show you about how you can join us. We basically need 3 things. We need all the visionary thinkers in Europe that are thinking about this topic of healthcare, environment, digital, in order to help us identify the next big things. And secondly, we are partnering mostly with states, but also with large regions and large foundations to start this challenge. For example, the deepfake challenge will not be funded by a state, but will be funded by a big foundation that is very concerned about the democratic process. Thank you very much.